here at Wilkes. I'm honored to welcome you, give you a warm Wilkes welcome, and also thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today. We know that you have a lot going on. And I did also want to acknowledge and thank you for your sincere dedication to your students. Last year and now again this academic year have been, of course, like none other, and your determination and creativity and keeping and getting students engaged in the college search process is certainly commendable. We know it hasn't been easy. We try very hard to reach out and get in touch with students in this virtual setting, and can only imagine what that's like for all of you. So thank you so much for caring about them and keep them on pace. For those of you who are just becoming familiar with Wilkes University, Wilkes is a nationally ranked research institution. We're located in northeastern Pennsylvania. And we love to say that we offer big opportunities in a small, intimate setting. We certainly pride ourselves in having a mentoring environment, and we care a lot about building personal relationships with our students, but also with each other as a community. And we call ourselves the Wilkes family. Today, we designed the session so that we can give you as much information that'll be pertinent for you, for Wilkes, so that you can best advise your students and your families as they're searching for colleges. We have some new changes with the university that we want to let you know about. We'll provide an overview of the institution in general, and then also highlight some programs that we've designed for students from all backgrounds, skill levels, talents, and ambitions. And so you'll hear a little bit about those programs from some of the staff and faculty members that help us run that. But to get started today, I've asked our president, Dr. Greg Kant, to join us and share his experience with Wilkes and also his vision for the institution. So with that, I'll hand it over to Dr. Greg Kant.
Thanks very much, Kishan, and I'd like to add my welcome to all of you, and also to thank you, as Kishan did, for the dedication you've had to your students that's helped them generally in counselling, and obviously in particular as they look at their journey towards higher education. Just if you can indulge me for a second, I'll just share a little bit about my experience with school counselling. So as it turns out, my mother was a public school educator. So I grew up in a home where she was off teaching in what you would call elementary school. And in fact, my father had sort of two professional careers. And his second career was actually a counsellor in what this country would be seen as community college, where he was helping students look at the opportunities after that experience, career and otherwise. And he found that a really rewarding part of his experience. And their passion for education was part of what drove me ultimately to a career as an educator, and ultimately with the great pleasure of serving as the president of Wilkes University. As Kishan mentioned, a number of you will have a little experience at Wilkes, but you may not know a great deal about what we have to offer, and hopefully over the next little while you'll hear more about those programs. Certainly our blend of professional programs, of traditional liberal arts offerings at undergraduate and graduate by different modes makes us somewhat unique as an independent college in our part of the country. We think not unashamedly that we do a tremendous job with supporting our students on their journey. We also have a strong focus on first generation students, students of colour, students who are entering the opportunities that come from higher ed, not just from those with the most resources, but really are an opportunity university. In fact, one of the things that we're most proud of is over the summer, the Brookings Institute introduced what they called the social mobility criteria, and they developed a very elaborate set of algorithm basically to drive that question of social mobility. Essentially is the guide of how much an education impacts the experience of a student and their family moving through the quartiles of income across the country. And Wilkes was very happy to be ranked 14th in the nation under that Brookings hierarchy. And we see that as a badge of honor, is that education isn't all just about financial rewards, but it is about opportunity. You're going to hear in the next little while about some of the existing programs we have and the new ones. I want to highlight just a couple of things. First of all, and I see Professor Kluken is there. I'm sure going to talk about our honours program. And we're in the throes of also introducing a new program we call the Barrie Scholars, which is really designated again for high achieving students, not all the things that are in the honours program. And on a personal note, my youngest daughter is actually an honours student at Wilkes. And to say that she's having the time of her life is a great understatement. All the promise that goes with research opportunities, great chance to work with faculty. She happens to be a biology pre-med student, and there's no stronger advocate for that program than a member of my own family, because it really is delivering on the promise. And the Barrie Scholars is a new opportunity which will begin this coming year, again, to give special opportunities for students, because at the end of the day, really what we are is a student-focused institution, but we also recognise that not all students are in the same place. We have another new program, and you may have heard of the Bonner Leaders Program. It operates in institutions around the country, and it really is designed to provide leadership development experience, traditionally for first-generation students of colour and other unrepresented groups. And it's an experience that applies over the 4 years. It's been around for a number of years. Interestingly, we actually have an alumni of Wilkes who happens to be in a leadership position in that entity. And we're excited to begin rolling out Bonner for our students in this next coming academic year. We also have lots of programs that focus on first generation students, as I mentioned. But one of the things as I finish up that we're particularly proud of is the work our community undertook to make sure that we were, as much as possible, providing an environment last semester and this semester that allowed our students to have what is possible in a world where there also happens to be a raging pandemic. So we were able to stay open throughout the last semester. We controlled the very limited spread of cases. And why I mention that is it did prove very difficult. Lots of institutions either couldn't open at all or really had to leave early or take breaks from face-to-face activities. You probably know, we start on Monday. And again, it's still a very challenging time with really high rates of spread in the community. But we feel confident that our focus and preparation on the way we deliver our programs and the protocols in place will assure us of a successful semester. Knowing what success looks like is very different. I'm guessing in your school districts, it's the same issue, staying safe, staying healthy, and giving the best opportunities we can to our students. So as I hand over to the next person, I do want to thank you on behalf of all parents, which I happen to be one of, that the work you do for students to help them understand where that journey is. I mentioned before I have the youngest daughter happens to be in her first year of college. I actually have a senior at high school as well, my youngest son. So he is in the midst of that journey, and it really is the support of counsellors and others and you know how complicated this is. I grew up in a country where there are less than 40 universities. So the pathway to college is a very different experience. And I've spent my 30 years in education and struggling our way through figuring out where to go and what that means and what the best choice is bamboozles me. And I'm relatively familiar with higher education. So thank you for all the work you do, and I'll hand it back to the team.
Thank you, Dr. Kent. We appreciate your words. We can take, if you have any questions right now, we're happy to answer those. I think what our plan is that obviously we have information to present, but we'd love to also answer questions as we go. You're welcome to throw those in the chat, and then we can have a discussion. And I'll give you a minute to do that. And what we're going to do next is have our admissions team talk a little bit about the institution, and then also our application process, what the admissions process really looks like here at Wilkes. And And let me take a look here at this. I think we had a question come through. So. Jackie, do you want to monitor the questions and then read them out for us?
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
So we just had a question from Elizabeth. She asked if we had any support programs or financial aid options for undocumented students. If we could just maybe talk about that quickly.
Yeah, sure. So at the moment, our DACA students are eligible for our merit aid. And that's probably the extent from a financial aid standpoint on campus. In terms of support services across campus, there's several different opportunities. Our university college offers advising and other support. We also have our global center who helps students navigate some of those processes and help them be engaged with the institution. But right now, from a financial standpoint, that merit level scholarships, and we're going to actually review those levels in just a minute. So thank you for that question. I think it's really an important issue and something that's on our radar to look at as a way to provide more opportunities to those students.
Thanks, Kishan. I have another question here, and we may go over this later, but if maybe someone wants to take it now. What scholarships are available to transfer students from community colleges?
Great. I actually don't know if this is in the presentation, so I will take it. We'll review our first year scholarship tiers, but so for transfers, one thing I will mention is that we have worked really hard on pathways. And we talked about different programs that are options. And so I do want to take this moment to also say that we have some pathways in many different opportunities. Pathways for our undergraduate students on school. So we have some +1 programs with MBA. We have 3+3 agreements with law schools like Drexel and Penn State. So there are definitely agreements out there where our undergraduates can then move into a more accelerated master's program. So that's one way that we offer pathways. We also are working to develop more comprehensive partnerships with community colleges. We have several out there already where we offer dual enrollment and have some opportunities with those particular community colleges, and we are looking to build more. Oftentimes that comes with a guaranteed admission into Wilkes University if they're part of that program. And it also it constitutes some special scholarship considerations for students from those particular community colleges. In general, our transfer merit scholarships range anywhere from $8,000 to $18,000 for the year, and then we also would pack on the extra grant money or any kind of aid we can offer through the financial aid process. So the 18 up to 18,000 is really part of our merit awards based on the admissions review. And then once we have the FAFSA, we look at how we can also supplement those students. And there's some other things that I certainly want our counselors to mention today from a pathway standpoint. So our young scholars and gateway scholars too. So even opportunities for high school students to start taking some classes with Wilkes and gain some college experience and then transfer those credits into us or to even another institution. And there's some financial aid benefits and grants and scholarships for those students as well. So thanks for that question.
I think that's it for now, Kishan.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna turn this over to our Executive Director of Admissions, Chris Merski, and our admissions team, and they'll share some more information. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. We're definitely excited that you're here with us. Even in this virtual world, it still gives us a great opportunity to have these discussions, answer questions, and keep you up to date with what's going on here at Wilkes. It's great to see some familiar names joining the Zoom here. So, I'm excited to be able to turn it over to my team and have us talk a little bit about any updates that we have here in admissions. But just to kind of reiterate everything that we've discussed, we look forward to being able to partner with you and advocate for your students. That's what we're here for. So at any point throughout the process, please continue to keep in contact with us. If there's things that you're looking for or have questions about at any point, we're always available. One thing that I also want to mention is we are doing in-person visits. So if your students are interested in visiting Wilkes, we're doing them Monday through Friday, typically at 10, 12, and 2. They are a little bit limited, and we do have protocols in place for both students coming from Pennsylvania and also coming from out of state. So we have been able to continue our visits, and they have been fruitful, and we've gotten great feedback even in these times. So, please encourage your students to look at Wilkes and visit us, and we'll be able to give them a tour of campus and answer any questions that they may have. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Erin Wysocki, who's going to go through our presentation, and then we're going to have the opportunity for all of our counselors to introduce themselves and talk about their areas. Right now, for our local counselors in Luzerne County in particular, we do have a group of folks that are working with your students, but if there's any specific questions about anything, feel free to reach out to me directly, or any of our counselors can assist with that. But I'm going to turn it over to Erin and talk a little bit about our processes. And after she's done, we'll open the floor up for some additional questions, as we'd like to interact with you and hear about any questions that you have.
Thanks, Chris. I'm just going to share a presentation with you guys. Give me a second to get my screen up. Okay, you can see my PowerPoint. I see Jackie, you're unmuted. All right, great. All right, let me go. All right, so hi everyone, and thank you again for joining us this morning. As mentioned, my name is Erin Wysocki, and I'm one of our assistant directors of undergraduate admissions. For those of you who have visited or have attended an event before, thank you for your second or third time back. For those of you attending for your first time, welcome. And I'm here to share with all of you some general information about our great university. So at Wilkes, students are offered the opportunities, programs, and activities of a large university in the caring and mentoring culture of a small university. With just under 2,500 undergraduate students from 31 states and 15 countries, this gives us an average class size of 21 and a 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio. I can assure you that your students will not just be another number on a sheet of paper. They're going to be known by their name and also by their face. We have a healthy mix of over 46 professional and liberal arts programs that are very hands-on. And for example, whether it's a student conducting groundbreaking research with Dr. Sabuni, or if they're interested in traveling north of the Arctic Circle to research the effects climate change has on plants, or maybe they're interested in running a business, they'll be able to do this in their first year of our business program. The Economist ranked Wilkes University 25th in the nation for economic value by comparing what our graduates earn to what they might have earned if they had studied elsewhere. The Brookings Institution, Money Magazine, and technology smart company Smart Asset have also recognized the value of a Wilkes education. A few top majors that your students have applied for and do enroll at Wilkes. They do include nursing, the BSN to RN program. We have a 6-year guaranteed seat PharmD program, health sciences, including pre-med. Engineering would include electrical, mechanical, environmental. We have criminology, pre-law, and our new partnership with Drexel University. Education, business, including accounting, sports management, finance, and many more in the business department. Campus life at Wilkes, we have 23 Division III sports teams, which, by the way, we do have some newly renovated facilities to play and practice on. One of our 80 clubs or organizations on campus that do deal with academics, sports and fitness, faith, culture, diversity, student leadership, and many more. We do have students majoring in all of our schools that make up Wilkes, so while they are taking a part in a sport or club or organization. With all of our campus happenings, maintaining a safe and secure campus does take commitment from both of our Department of Public Safety and the campus community, all working together. Our dedicated staff of police officers and patrol officers traverse the campus and its perimeter 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Student life, so regarding support, I know this was kind of asked before. We do offer a range of free programs, services, and activities as diverse as our campus community, and they do consist of peer, faculty, and staff mentorship programs. Each and every new student at Wilkes will be assigned an e-mentor who's an upperclassman student, and they'll be kind of a shoulder to lean on to help acclimate them through their first year of college. We will offer extracurricular activities and opportunities, including social events, multicultural activities, concerts, student recitals, theater productions, readings, and lectures from renowned professionals who join us from all over the world. There are so many other opportunities and services on campus for students, such as advising, counseling, tutoring, and also academic support. Here's a little bit about our admissions process for our first year students. So our first year student application process is fairly easy, and this is how they can apply. There are one of two ways to complete the application. One is being through our website, or two is being through the common application. We don't prefer one application over the other one, but they can apply whichever way they feel most comfortable with. We no longer have an application fee, and along with the application, students will need to submit their official high school transcript, and we are currently test optional this year. Transcripts can be accepted electronically, by mail, or through email directly from the guidance department. And regarding specific programs, they will be required to provide additional materials. And those programs are examples of performing arts and our pharmacy guaranteed seat program. Wilkes Scholarships, they are awarded during the admission decisions process, and they are based on academic performance, and they are renewable per year. Our freshman scholarships range from our trustee scholarship of $25,000 to our dean's scholarship of $17,000. We do have a new scholarship. It's called the Hometown Advantage Award. It's awarded to our first-time freshmen who reside in Luzerne or Lackawanna counties. And any student who is outside of Pennsylvania, they'll be awarded our out-of-state award of $2,000, and this is awarded to freshman students who are out of PA. Our Blue and Gold Opportunity Grant, it's a $10,000 grant, and that's awarded to students who show potential and are not awarded one of the above merit scholarships. These scholarships only apply to U.S. citizens and the permanent residents only. Our new Emerging Leader Award, it's potentially awarded to high school juniors who are nominated by their guidance counselor and that meet the requirements listed on this slide. The pre-scholarship, it will be awarded in the amount of $5,000 per each fall and spring semester, and it's up to 4 years. These funds are for undergraduate students only. These selected students would also receive preferred first-year housing, additional opportunities for the honors program, research, and personal engagement at Wilkes. The amount of the Colonel Emerging Leader Award would be included in any merit award that the student otherwise qualifies for. So just please note that Wilkes University scholarships and awards, when combined with other sources of grant assistance from Wilkes, will not exceed their tuition costs. The nomination forms for the students, they'll be sent out by email to all guidance counselors, and they will be in our counselor newsletter in the next month. If you do have any questions in the meantime, please reach out to Liz Nicholas. She's one of our admission counselors, and she will introduce herself shortly. So she will be your contact for this award. As far as financial aid, about 90% of full-time undergraduates receive some form of financial aid at Wilkes. This can include grants, scholarships, work study, and direct loans. We do encourage all families and students to apply for the free application for federal student aid, also known as the FAFSA. As you all know, October 1st of their senior year is when the FAFSA opens up to apply for. To wrap this information session up, I would just like to show you a reflection of the hard work that our Wilkes students have put in through their career outcomes. Just to point out a main one, 96% are working or are attending a graduate or professional school in areas related to their desired career outcomes. And 73% of those that are attending graduate or professional schools are doing so in Northeastern Pennsylvania and other Pennsylvania cities. Here's some of our graduates and where they are now. Danny on the top graduated in 2020. He works in social media for Fox Sports and designs their social media posts. Caroline, she creates strategies for companies in digital advertising, social media, and print advertising. Rich, he received a job offer right before he graduated. And Erin, she explores media manipulation as a means to control public conversation. I will be introducing and letting our admissions staff take the time to let you know their territories. So first, obviously, my name's Erin Wysocki. I am an assistant director of undergrad admissions. I help students in Lackawanna, Carbon, and Wayne counties, and any state that's out of the tri-state area. Next, I'll let Lynn introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Lynn. I have the New York territory as well as the Connecticut territory, and I have some Pennsylvania counties as well. I also help with some international recruiting.
I'll let Maureen introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maureen Iskra. I am one of the admissions representatives here, and I work with the northern half of New Jersey. So I have Ocean County and above, along with Pike County in Pennsylvania.
Sierra.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sierra Mershman. I am an admissions counselor. I primarily work with students in the Lehigh Valley as well as Central and West Pennsylvania.
And Liz.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Nicholas, and I'm an admissions counselor at Wilkes. My main territory is Central Southern PA and the state of Maryland, and I also handle the Colonel Emerging Leader Award, so please feel free to ask me any questions if you do have one. Thank you again.
Marquita.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marquita. I have the pleasure of working in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, South Jersey, and Delaware areas, all those counties. So if you guys need any help with anything, reach out to me.
I'll let Jackie introduce herself.
Thanks, Erin. Hi, everybody. My name is Jackie Iovich. I work in admissions as the admissions communications manager. So a little bit of a different job than some of our traditional counselors, but a lot of the emails and things that you receive from Wilkes come from me and a few others at Wilkes. So thank you so much for joining us today.
And finally, I'll let Jess.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Hicheski, and I'm the admissions event coordinator here. So I have the privilege to plan all of these fun recruitment and yield events for our prospective students. Thank you for joining us today. We're really happy to have you with us.
Feel free if we want to go over some questions. We have a few minutes that if you want to add anything in the chat, we'd be happy to answer them.
Erin, we do have a couple of questions here. I have one. Does Wilkes accept dual credit? And that's in terms of students taking college courses that also fulfills a high school course.
Yeah, sure. I'll take this one. Thanks for joining us, Nikki. And to answer your question, we do accept dual credit. So, for students that are taking that credit, as long as we have proof of that credit and have the official college transcript, we would accept that credit. And to piggyback off that question, we also accept credit for AP scores. So, if students are taking AP exams, just be sure that we have those scores submitted as part of their application process. And we would upload those scores and give credit for scores that students would receive. So a combination of accepting credits, we do look at those things. As long as the credit can be accepted, we'll look at that. Now, how it would translate into each specific major would be determined at that point by the department and the advisors. But if we can bring that credit in, we'll try and find a way to have that credit work towards a student's degree here at Wilkes.
Thanks, Chris. I do have one other question about from Paul. He asks, do we anticipate being test optional in the future as well?
Chris, I can handle that if you'd like.
Go for it.
Yeah, so we work with the faculty at Wilkes campus to understand what's happening and make these kinds of decisions. So we have a group of faculty who review this. We've worked with them over the last year on this particular topic, and we're able to do test optional. It's something that we're looking at and evaluating right now. We certainly understand that students in future cycles are going to still be impacted by all of this. And so that's weighing very heavily on our decision. We have not quite come to that decision just yet, but please know that we're working on it and that we do understand how that impacts students. So thanks for that question.
I think that's it for questions now. We did have a question about Wilkes Edge, but we are going over that shortly. So I think we can stop for now and move on.
So thank you, Erin and everybody. Next, we do have our director of the Learning Center with us, Katie Bettner, and she's going to talk about our EDGE program.
Sure. Great. Thank you, everyone. Again, my name is Katie Bettner. I direct I'm director of the Learning Center, which includes our academic support services, as well as our disability support program. And I'm also director of our EDGE program, which I'm going to talk with you about today. And can I share my screen? If you can.
I can allow you to. One moment.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You should be able to now.
Yes. Get set up here. All right, I think I'm ready. All right. So again, certainly as guidance counselors, we value, your, again, the students best, what I mean? So you're able to provide us, a lot of information, again, sometimes to help us determine who is the best fit, for this program. So I'm going to walk you through, again, a little bit of information about, who would be eligible, what are the program benefits, and then finally, again, some of our outcomes that we've collected over the last few years. Again, our program is meant, for students that, might need a slower, transition or start to college. Again, in terms of, who would be approved for a program like this, I think I'm going to ask one of the admissions staff to help me out with that when I'm done with the presentation, because there is a little bit of, intricate details to finding the best fit, students that might be a, good option for the program. But the starting point, the process does start, with students that have a GPA below 2.5. And then there's some more, kind of work that goes on behind the scenes to help, identify those students. So we will get into that, I promise you, before we finish up. But I'm going to focus on some of the, benefits, outcomes, and then answer some of your questions about the program. So I've been involved with the program since our start, which is in fall of 2017. And I've been director of the program for about the last 2 years. So I'm going to kind of get into, some of the nuts and bolts, but I believe this program fits, right in with the mission of Wilkes. I mean? It really, this program does enhance the experience. It provides some additional opportunities, for students to help them learn and grow, especially during that first year. So the program is designed, for a first year experience, to help students transition to university. Again, we know that students come with all different stories, backgrounds, experiences, strengths, weaknesses. So we do take that into account as we work with them through that first semester. Okay, so some of the benefits I want to go over are that these students do take fewer courses during the first semester. Most of our full-time students will take 12 to 15 or slightly more credits. Our EDGE students, they'll take 11 credits or less, typically about 10, 11 credits their first semester. Students that I've worked with, again, they say that that's what, allowed them, to kind of establish a decent GPA, come back in the spring and, be able to complete, their courses. So that really has been a huge benefit for students that might not be ready to take, those, 5 classes their first semester. So we also provide some increased support services. So again, we find that a lot of these students, they need, that extra support of navigating, the residential experience on campus, or the financial aid office, the billing, how to sign up for parking, the academic support services, how do I get a tutor? So again, we provide, kind of the hub of helping them, navigate, those services. I do have a separate slide on advisement, so I will talk about that. I think that's coming up next. One of the other benefits I'd like to talk about is the career planning and exploration. We do offer a 1-credit course the first semester for all EDGE students. We also offer it to our undeclared students where, they go through some career planning and exploration. These are for students that have declared majors and those that are undeclared, and still exploring major options. So I'm the instructor for the course. We typically have anywhere from 12 to 18 students enrolled in the program. We meet once a week, and we focus on values, strengths, interests, the personality. We do a lot of inventories, and then, they can either verify, yes, this is the major for me, or for students that are, not yet decided on a major, many times they've, decided on something during that semester. So they're able to come up with jobs and options, to help them, transition into their, second semester. They're also guaranteed work-study employment, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And we also have, a specific financial aid advisor that they work with to make sure they have all the information they need on their loans and, different scholarships or whatever, might be applied to their accounts. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the academic and support advising. This is one of the pillars of the program. This is where we find that most students do benefit, from advisor, whether it's a faculty advisor for those students that have, already declared majors, or one of our undeclared advisors that'll help develop an appropriate course schedule that first semester. So what those students will typically see is all students are enrolled in a first-year foundations course, which is about 3 credits. They'll also take the 1-credit career planning course, and then we'll fill, the rest of their schedule with a, class that they'd like to explore as a major, or a class that's required for their major if they've already decided on one. We also have dedicated study time, specific, academic support services. Since I oversee our tutoring services, I'm able to pair them with making sure they get to a small group session or a supplemental instruction session, or getting an individual tutor for a course that they might be struggling in. Before COVID, we had a dedicated study space in our learning center where students can drop in, and have one of our learning specialists or myself in the office to help them with assignments, to organize, to get, figure out a schedule for the week, to kind of develop some study strategies. We hope to continue that again, when we're back in the fall, having more of a normal schedule. But I did find that was a really good, time that students can come in and get some of that individualized attention that they need. The other part is, since students are only taking 11 credits their first semester, we do supplement that with 2 additional courses that they're not, charged extra for. So many students will decide to take those during the summer, session, or one of our winter intersession, and they can do that anytime while they're at Wilkes. It doesn't have to be, during that first year. One thing that, certainly is, a staple at Wilkes is mentoring. Again, we do student, peer, faculty, staff mentors. So all EDGE students are, assigned an EDGE mentor through their first semester. This could be a faculty member, could be a member of our staff, or even a member of our administration. So that's another kind of piece in addition to the academic support. We'd like these students to get connected, to get to know people around campus. So I find that is such a huge, benefit for students, just to provide, that extra sense of belonging and connection. So that is something that we offer, students in the program. Work study employment, again, this is not something that they must do. We know that many students do have off-campus, employment. That is fine. They can certainly keep those jobs, but any student in the program that would like work study employment, they're guaranteed that. So these are flexible hours that we work around their class schedule. These are examples of some of the offices where students have been employed, with us in the past, which range from the provost's office, the missions office, athletics, registrar, academic departments. And then starting this past year, we've been able to establish some community partnerships where students are able to do some work study opportunities at places like the YMCA, which is, again, very close to our campus, very convenient. So that's been a nice addition, to the work study employment. So we help navigate that process, get them set up, get their documents processed. All of that is done, right at the beginning of the semester. But they can elect to opt in or out, of the work study employment at any time. All right, and finally, in my last few minutes here, I'd just like to go over a few of the outcomes that we've collected, that kind of show the different cohorts and the credits attempted, earned, and GPAs versus students that have accepted the program and those that have, declined the program. So again, the numbers pretty much show the same trends, that students that accept the program have been completing more credits on average, attempting and earning credits, more than those that decline the program. Of course, over the course of fall 2017, 2018, and as you can see, their GPAs, are higher than those that have declined the program. Okay, and again, going into fall 2019, this was probably our highest, where we had 91% of those that accepted the program, completed, attempted, and earned, their credits. And they had an average GPA of 2.73. We're still collecting the data from our fall 2020 cohort. So we will certainly add that, to the presentation. And then our last slide that I have before I'll take some questions. This just shows the retention, going from the first year from fall to spring. You know what I mean? So as you can see, by fall 2019, 92% of the students, were continuing on to their spring semester. And that's where we find, again, from fall 2019 to spring 2020, only 58%, kind of were retained after that first semester, those that declined the program. So I do believe, there are many benefits, beyond obviously the services that we provide. It does give those students, a chance to develop, develop their confidence, develop their academic strategies, connect with other, staff and administration on campus. Again, I see these students in class sometimes 3 times a week, So I do monitor their academics, get them involved in clubs and organizations, We find that the more connections that these students can make, that certainly helps with their retention. So again, I am certainly can answer any question about, kind of the nuts and bolts of the question. If you do have questions on the eligibility, I'm sure somebody from our admissions staff can help. But thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Katie. I'm going to jump in regards to the eligibility. I did answer a little bit of the question through chat, but I just want to reiterate a little bit more of the process of a student being considered for EDGE. It's not as cut and dry as a GPA. The GPA kind of starts our process, and then we'll begin to dig a little bit deeper as to how a student might benefit from EDGE, or could the student benefit from EDGE, and if so, what next? So we do take into account things such as a specific high school, where they're coming from, their class rigor. We'll also look at a student's essay to see if there's anything that would stick out there that might let us know that a student might benefit from EDGE. And then I did mention, if you have students that you feel could benefit from this, please let us know, because you do know your students best, and we would lean on you for your expertise. And there are times where we would reach out to the counselors for some input if we do have any specific questions about a student. So it's not as cut and dry sometimes as it may seem, but we do try and really work to identify these students, because it is a great program, and we want to give students the best opportunity to be successful here at Wilkes. So trying to find these students, it does take a little bit of a process. But if there's any additional questions about the process, feel free to reach out to us. Katie or myself can help out at any point with that. But I did want to kind of reiterate and expand on that a little bit.
Chris, can we just answer one question? We have a question from Maxwell. Can a student with a GPA above 2.5, about 3.0, request to be in the EDGE program because they feel they could use the extra support as they start college level work?
Yeah, I mean, that's something we can look at on a case by case basis. If we feel and if you feel that the student would benefit from that, that's something that we could do. We would just ask that you let us know. It's not an automatic review for a student typically with a higher GPA, but that's something that students work extremely hard to get that GPA, and if they have those extra resources, it might continue to allow them to be successful. So that is something that we could look at on a case-by-case basis if you have those recommendations.
And then just one additional question, is there any additional cost for the resources of the EDGE program?
Katie, can you jump in?
Hi, Joelle, and thank you for your question. My name is John Ferentz. I'm the Associate Provost here at Wilkes, the Senior Administrator in charge of Student Success, and I work with Katie and all on this call. That's a fantastic question, Joelle, and the answer is no. There is no additional cost to the student for any of the added resource. In fact, Wilkes puts its money where its mouth is. If you paid attention to the presentation, you noticed that we subsidized 2 courses at no cost to those students to play catch up when they were taking anywhere between 10 to 11 credits in the initial semester. So we do know that they'll be considered less than full-time at that moment in time. We actually subsidize the loss in financial aid and make those students whole. So not only is there no additional cost to the student, we are investing in the student and in the program because we believe in the outcomes that we've seen. Moreover, we believe that every student has the potential to succeed here at Wilkes.
Thanks, John. I think that's it for now on questions.
Great. Thank you, Katie, for joining us. Thank you, John. And next we have our Director of our Honors and Barrie Scholars Program, Dr. John Kukin.
Okay, thank you, Jessica, and thank you everybody for joining us. As Jessica mentioned, my name is Dr. Jonathan Kukin. I'm the Director of Honors and Scholars Programs here at Wilkes University. And if you'll grant me one moment, I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. All right, can everyone see that? Okay, so I'm going to be actually joined today by our Honors and Scholars Assistant, Jen McLaughlin, who's going to help me with the presentation. But before I jump in, I actually did want to note also that I am a faculty member as well here at Wilkes University. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have about Honors and Scholars programs. And I can also answer any questions that you have from, if you want, the faculty perspective on anything. So I'm really excited to join you today because as Dr. Kant and as Kishan and others have mentioned, we actually have some changes on the horizon for our Honors and Scholars programs. Traditionally, over the last several years, Wilkes has had one honors program that has existed for students who meet certain academic and other qualifications and who want additional kind of opportunities to go above and beyond a typical Wilkes experience. But this coming fall, we're actually introducing a brand new program as well called the Barrie Scholar Program. Both of these programs fall under what we would consider opportunities for excellence at Wilkes University. They have some overlap, we'll go into that in a minute, but they also focus on very different kind of qualities that we're looking for and looking to develop in our students. The honors program, our traditional program, focuses very much on the qualities of leadership, integrity, self-awareness, and academic performance. The honors program is focused a lot, not just on kind of the academic side of the college experience, but also on developing leaders, developing people involved in community service, getting people off campus, doing things out in the community, studying abroad, stuff like that. The Barrie Scholar Program is going to, again, not not focus on those things, but it's going to be much more focused on kind of the academic life here on campus. It's going to be focused on academic rigor, academic growth, and academic distinction. Now, the reason I'm focusing on kind of overlap here is that students will actually, some students will qualify for the honors program, some students will qualify for the Barrie program, some students will qualify for both. They're not mutually exclusive. So you may have a student that ends up a member of our honors program and a member of our Barrie Scholar program, or vice versa. You may have students who end up in one or the other. Now, because of this, we actually have a little bit of overlap in terms of some of the perks and some of the opportunities that are granted by these programs, but I'm going to go through them one by one, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. And before I dive into that, just one more point. The honors program is a program that you have to apply for. So if you meet our qualifications for the honors program, your student will actually receive an invitation to fill out a very short, very small application in which they'll be asked to write a couple short essays, provide some information, and that will go before a committee who will then decide whether a student qualifies for the program or not. The Barrie Scholar program is by invitation. If your student meets our benchmarks, they will be automatically invited to the Barrie Scholar program. They don't have to say yes if they don't want to, but I have a feeling that they will. So let's go for the honors program first. The Wilkes University honors program is focused very much on taking high-performing students and students with certain leadership characteristics and giving them multitude of opportunities to tailor a program that will advance their goals and help them to kind of go above and beyond. So to start off with, in an academic sense, the Wilkes Honors Program actually provides some unique opportunities to give students a smaller classroom setting in some important classes. Our general education classes, which all students at Wilkes University are required, this is the History 101 and Math 101 and stuff like that. There are honors only sections of these courses, which means that your honors student will actually be in a class of maybe 10 or 15 students instead of the larger general education classes. They'll be with students who they know from their cohort, students who actually, many of whom are kind of equally academically driven to them. This creates an environment in which the professor can go more in depth in some of these intro level classes than would be typical. After that, they also have opportunities to earn honors credits in upper level courses. Sometimes these are honors only classes. Sometimes they're special sections of classes that which a student will sign up for a class that they have to take for their major, but they'll get an opportunity to work more closely with the professor or have some additional research projects to do that they'll work hand in glove with their professor. So it's kind of a unique opportunity, again, to go above and beyond. Now, to make these opportunities not just about having to do extra work and things like that, we also provide a lot of different resources to help these students achieve their goals. One of the most important of these is that we have grant funding to support study abroad, research, and internship experiences. Every honors student is guaranteed a certain amount of grant funding, and then we have a significant pool of money that students can also compete for by submitting applications for further grants once they've spent their guaranteed money. A lot of our students during typical years use this to fund their study abroad experiences or to help them cover costs for an internship or maybe go to research conferences and things like that. This is a really, really valuable tool that students can use to add on additional experiences to really make their overall experience at Wilkes much more beneficial for their future goals. Another really important perk that students have, and this is something that I think they only come to appreciate once they get here, is that honor students have preferential course selection. That means that our honor students actually get to choose their courses even before our seniors do. This is really, really valuable, particularly when you're in your first and second year here. You can get into classes that otherwise fill up. This means that you have an opportunity to pick the courses that you want and not have to kind of monkey around with your schedule and try to find stuff that fits. It's really a very, very valuable perk. Along the same lines, you have no additional costs for course overload related to your honors work. And what that basically means is that every student at Wilkes can take up to 18 credits a semester, or 6 classes more or less a semester. Honors students can take more than that if they want, without additional tuition costs and fees. This is extremely beneficial for students who want to do a double or sometimes even a triple major, or who want to add a bunch of minors and things like that. There may be a few semesters where, believe it or not, you want to take 7 or even 8 courses. It has happened. I know that sounds like a lot, and it is. But for students who are really driven to get those extra majors or extra minors, this can be hugely beneficial. And then on top of that, we have a lot of enriching experiences. We have a lot of social events and field trips and dinners, again, during typical years, not so much recently. We go places. We build a lot of kind of experiences together as a cohort. When speakers come to campus, honor students have an opportunity to meet them before or after an event in a small group setting. And then last but not least, you get a special notation on your transcript and you get recognized at commencement. We give them this really neat medal that they get to wear at graduation. So it's a lot of really great enrichment experiences. And beyond that, here's actually a picture of our honor students with one of our speakers, Brian Stevenson. But beyond that, honors program is also about community. And Jen, are you there? Can you take over for me to talk about our community?
I am here, yes. Hi, I'm Jen, and we have a very tight, very family-like community in the honors program. So the way that we foster this is right when they come, first of all, they take a special honor section of FYF, which is first year foundations. I teach that. I'm an adjunct faculty as well as a full-time employee. And they're in the classroom with me immediately, being a part of the honors family from the very beginning. And what we do in there is a lot of public speaking and writing. So it gets them comfortable in front of a crowd and makes them more comfortable being a leader on campus, which is something we foster very deeply in the program. Additionally, to piggyback off of that, in their last year, what they do is they come back together like they did in their FYF course and do the honors 390 capstone. And what's amazing about that is they get to do a group project together. So they go from starting out together and finishing together. And this provides them naturally built networking abilities because they're familiar with people who aren't just in their major. When you get higher up, a lot of times you hang out with people in your major. What the honors program does is it allows these relationships to continue to grow and build so that when they graduate, they have a naturally built networking community already in place. Additionally, we have a first year honors living learning community. And what that means is they all live together in what is called Waller House, which is up there right now. It's a mansion. I like to call it a Harry Potter mansion because it's got lots of different hallways and twists and turns. It's very fun. They all live together in that house their first year. And what's really good about that is they're with people of a like mind. What that means is they're there to be successful. They're there to study hard, to succeed, and to be leaders on campus. So being in this house helps them foster, again, those relationships and have a house where they can study and take things seriously and not be distracted by the loud party next door, for instance. So it's a good atmosphere for them to begin their learning opportunities. We also have peer mentoring. You've heard that word used a few times. What that means is the second we accept and confirm an honors student, they are paired with an honors peer mentor who reaches out to them. So from the very beginning, they're already making friends. They're learning who is on campus, what the campus is all about. So in addition to their regular mentor, they also have a peer mentor that I immediately pair them with. Leadership development, I talked a little bit about that, but we have a lot of speakers come on campus and talk about leading from outside campus as well as inside campus. And we do a lot of public speaking and workshops with faculty on campus that we call Pizza Pluses. We don't have pizza this year because they're on Zoom, but we feed them pizza and then they learn special opportunities from faculty and staff on campus that other students don't get the opportunity to attend. Additionally, we foster community service. This year backing up. We also have the HPSC, which is the Honors Program Student Council, which is comprised of 8 honors students that meet weekly. I just had a meeting with them this morning, and they coordinate all of these community service and just fun events. So for instance, for community service, we are reaching out to local high schools or elementary schools currently, and we are going to have honor students tutor elementary school students to do a community outreach. And we're also collecting soda tabs for the Ronald McDonald House this year. And those are just some of the things that we've already come up with. There will be more as we continue along. And I think I covered everything on that slide.
Yeah, great. Thanks,
Okay.
Jen.
You're welcome.
And so just really briefly, I also want to talk about our brand new program, the Barrie Scholar Program. So like I said at the very beginning, there is some overlap between these two things. Honors does have an academic component, but the Barrie program is going to be focused much more on kind of pure academics for students who want to go deeper into their academic studies, who want to do more research and things like that. And once again, we have some perks that are very valuable. Just like the honors program, there is going to be no additional fees or costs for overload courses for the Barrie Scholar Program. So once again, if students want to do double or triple majors or whatnot, students can access honors sections of courses, these upper level classes, if they want to sign up for the honors section of a 300 level class, for example, and get those additional research opportunities with the professor. There's guaranteed and priority consideration for non-federal work studies programs. So a lot of times departments will have research assistant positions or different work study programs that are kind of associated with their departmental functions. These students will have an ability to sign up for those if they so choose. We're going to have special faculty-led interdisciplinary reading and research groups that are going to bring in faculty to work closely with these students to kind of engage them in discussions about academic subject matter that is related to their fields, get students involved in kind of discussing research and things like that. There will be special notations on student transcripts following graduation. So once again, just like the honors program, you'll get a note on your transcript that you were a part of this program so that when you apply to graduate schools or when you apply to law schools or whatnot, it'll be right there showing that you were a distinguished student. And last but not least, you'll have an ability to apply for what we're calling the Isaac Barrie Prize for academic achievement during your graduation year. This is going to be a prize that is going to award students for outstanding academic performance and research during their undergraduate experience. So once again, this program is not mutually exclusive with the honors program. Students could be in both, and I have a feeling that many will be. But again, this program with its focus on academics does not have the leadership and the community service kind of element in the same way the honors program does, but hopefully gives students that extra ability to kind of push their academic studies just a little bit further. And so, one of the main focuses of the Barrie Scholar Program is going to be research focused, that we want students to be involved in research from day one. And a lot of our professors have opportunities for students to be involved in their research that they're doing or in research opportunities specifically focused on the interests of the students. So I'll end the presentation there. You feel free to contact either Jen or myself if you've got further questions about that. If you have students who are interested, we're happy to follow up with them, and I'm happy to answer any questions that people have right now.
I think we got most of the questions in the chat, just a couple of maybe some more housekeeping things. So I think we should be all set unless people have some other questions about honors now.
All right, well, thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. We are so excited that you're able to attend. We did record this, so we'll be sending this out to you probably later this week so that you could view it or share it with your colleagues. And as always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. And thank you so much and have a great day.
Yep, thanks everybody. If you haven't gotten our newsletter, make sure you sign up for that too, because we send out updates every month about new things at Wilkes. So let us know your email and we'll get you on the list. Thank you so much.